Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Good morning, everybody. Cowboy here. It is 8:30 a.m. EST, and we are going to take a look at the markets today. We're going to take a look specifically at USDJPY, Bitcoin, and the NASDAQ. Excuse me. Wow. And the NASDAQ. So if you guys have any requests, go ahead and leave it in the comment section. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. Just a moment. Yeah. So I called this yesterday, right? I mean, I literally called this, and I did it live for everybody to see. I said, price may go ahead and just wiggle its way down, or it might have to come up and grab liquidity and then make its way down. And it kind of pretty much did the initial, what I thought it would do in blue. Now, what that means is that the yellow path I drew up most likely a couple of days ago or earlier, or it's just like my initial thought. The blue path is like, okay, well, here's what I think is going to happen now. That's usually how that goes. I don't remember exactly how I drew these two paths and why the colors are. Usually, though, the blue is the more updated, hey, this is what I think is going to happen, right? And that's pretty much what happened, right? If I zoom in here, you'll see from the time that I actually drew this, which was around this time yesterday, price came up, grabbed a little liquidity, came down, and is now heading down. Now, it's coming down a little slower than I thought, and it made its way down right to here. Let's get my arrow out. You can see the wick right there, right? Okay, so that's where it made its way down to, that level at which I will put this line. That's the low so far. Now let's take a look at what's going on with the algos to see if, in fact, we might get another move down. I think it's going to head down, but I do think we might need to see a little bit of a pop up first, right? So what might happen with the USDJPY is you might see something like this. Let me make this easier to see. By the way, go ahead and let me know if you guys are seeing my voice sync up with the screen. I know yesterday some of the members said yes, it's syncing up properly. I didn't watch the replay of the video, so give me a message either in the private chat or in the YouTube chat. Either way would be great. So we might see price pull one of these where it comes up to grab a little liquidity as high as 155.76. Might not go that high. Might only pull up a little bit, to that area. And then as it hits 155.21, we'll erase this. The receipts are up. We've seen the receipts. Great. Okay, so we know that was all correct, or at least, to that degree that it was correct, a very profitable degree. I think it's either going to come up and grab liquidity based on this sort of area right here, right? Come up and grab liquidity. Oops, apologies. New mouse. Or it might not even make it that far. So let's do that. The other option might be that it only goes up to, no, that's a pretty fair area. I mean, it could stop short and head down sooner. It's possible. But right now it seems like it's probably going to kind of head up, do a little recovery. Might be slower than this, might not, and then head down again. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Obviously it's rebounding. We had some news this morning. We'll take a brief look at that and we'll move into Bitcoin. Today being the 3rd, let's go ahead and reset the page here. And the non-farm employment change. Okay, so what's gone on here is that there's an estimated addition of 5 jobs outside of farms, and instead there's a loss of 32,000. That's quite the miss, everybody. So what that usually means is that things go up against the dollar. So a good way to take a look at that would be to look at the NASDAQ and on a lower time frame. So generally, not always lately, but generally the way it's worked is that bad news is good and good news is bad. And when you have, let's see, 615, actually in this case, it looks like the bad news was bad. I'm gonna have to, whenever you see bad economic data come out, the thought has been that, okay, if it's bad news, then we're more likely to see an interest rate cut. and then the market heads up. But in this case, the last couple of times I've seen bad news, it's been that bad news is bad, which is interesting. I'm going to have to figure out why that is. We're going to have to do some research as to why bad news is now looked at as bad, But either way, the move was initially down and then recovering pretty quickly based on a negative jobs report. So we'll get back into NASDAQ in a bit, but let's look at Bitcoin, which hasn't reacted much to the news. Similar reaction. Both of those reactions are in a very low time frame, right? So you're looking at something that's, minuscule reaction. Bitcoin has demonstrated a bit of strength here, right? So what we've seen here from a classic charting standpoint, my yellow path that I drew seems to be correct, but just it looks like it's happening more quickly, possibly. Now, it could always come back down and have to do this, or it could do a lot of different things. It's just my prediction. I'll leave it up there. What I'm going to do is just make it a dotted line so it just doesn't get in the way of everything that we're seeing right now. And I'll even make it, I'll make this easier to see later. Just want to be able to chart things, right? So what we're looking at now is a classic double bottom pattern. It's not that clean, but it counts, right? So first of all, 83,000 is that line that I just erased. That's a number that I look at for where price might bounce, and certainly it made its way down to 80. So, right, so you have this hard move down, and let's make this visible. You have a hard move down, and then you have this sort of a U-shaped bounce and then up, right? So that's double bottom material. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at this classic double bottom where the deepest wick is right here, right? And that's from this candle right here. This candle created that deep stab down. And then when you get a second candle that touches that area but doesn't close below, then you have a double bottom. And then when you have the following candle close higher than the candle that stabbed it down, and it has a higher high and a higher close, which is this green candle right here, then you're set for a move up. Now, how high might that move go? That's another story. An easy, or at least a simple way to take a look at this would be to use fib levels, and the 618 is up at 97,000. And as I told Algo Factory, 97 to 98,000 is a likely place for price to go, right? Price is going to be attracted to that level. And this is also supported by liquidity up in this area. So definitely some decent liquidity up here. And I'll make that yellow because the screen's getting a bit convoluted. We'll erase the double bottom metrics. We know it's a double bottom. So there's a decent chance that price is going to stab this 618 and even grab some liquidity from up here. Now, what happens after that? First of all, that's if, right? But what happens if this happens? What happens after that remains to be seen. So this is a decent probability move. Now, of course, it could do all kinds of things. It could, it could come down and then come back up and all this. But whatever happens, I do think that 97,000 for Bitcoin is pretty likely. You take a brief look. Yeah, it's Bitcoin on the, from an algorithmic standpoint is, it's a little bullish right now. And it's bullish against some resistance, and it's actually meeting that resistance in a pretty strong way. Like the way it's handling the resistance is pretty strong. So it's just kind of grinding upwards, despite maybe wanting to not do that. So despite the bears wanting to sell at these areas, it's just kind of pushing right through. So it might even hit 97 a lot more quickly than what I drew. It could just maybe go straight up to it. By the end of the day, it's possible, right? It's Bitcoin. So that's where I'm at with it. Whenever it does kind of hit this 97, 98 really area, 97.3 is the 618, and 99,000 is where the liquidity is, right? So right now it's sitting at 93,000. So, 97 is the 618 level right there. That's kind of the first area I look at. But again, it does want to go towards liquidity. That tends to be what happens. So we'll take a look at the Kingfisher, and then that'll be it for the live show. We'll have to cover the NASDAQ over in the private live lab. So let's go ahead and refresh our screen to see where the liquidations are with Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin liquidations mostly to the downside right now for all leverage. Now, if I were to take a look at lower leverage, might get a different read on that. Let's go with high leverage Bitcoin. We'll let this load up, and we'll see what the kind of crackhead traders are doing, right? And that might give us all the leverage seems to be the downside at 90,000. So that means a fair amount of people are long, right? So that doesn't mean price is going to go down to this level, but if the algos do flip and Bitcoin is rejected, then it's going to, if this map looks like it does, it's going to want to go down to 90,000. But in order for this map to matter more from a trading standpoint, the algos do have to flip bearish, and we're just not there right now. So if the algos flip bearish, then we're looking at a price down by 90,000. We'll get into, I'll do a quick, just basic look at the NASDAQ. It does look rather bullish despite the news. It is stalling out a little bit, but in reality, what I would say to keep it really simple on the NASDAQ is it looks to me like it wants to grind up slowly against resistance. Like it's just going to continue to grind up and to the right. That's what it looks like. It is up against a fair amount of resistance, and it's just kind of grinding up. And that's probably why the markets are pretty quiet. So it'll grind up until it doesn't. And I think, at least in the current look, the way the markets look right now, it's probably going to break out to the upside. And we have our highs right there at 26.4. So, NASDAQ recovering just fine. Now, I know everybody was freaked out about the yen carry trade and everyone's what's going to happen. And I'm like, yes, it's going to get held up between, 22 and 24,000. That's what I said to everybody. It's like, it's not a big deal. The only reason that this becomes a big deal is if the carry trade truly unwinds. And I think personally that they're going to do it incrementally. You're going to have these moments where they let it unwind for a while, and then they're going to reposition, and then the market kind of stabilizes, and then it heads down again. And I think that's how that's going to go. Thank you all for watching. We are going to flip over to the private live lab. I've been calling this out, everybody. USDJPY. I mean, already it looks like whatever news gains were had today are already eaten up. So the move down that I called is still in play, right? If I were just to undo everything I did, which would take a long time. Let's see, that's BTC. I should have left those up on JPY. Darn it. Give me a second. I'm going to bring those back up. There we are. Just left my original predictions on there. It looks like that is going to continue. So we'll just leave the original predictions up. Thank you all for watching, and we will catch you on the flip side. Don't forget you got a free algo. Free algo, links in the description, right? You go there, you get the algo, show you how to build it, and you got to test it. It's not plug and play to trade, but I also show you how traders connect their algos to their exchange so they can trade while they're not at the computer. And just fair warning, everybody, if y'all think that you could just hold Bitcoin and make money, right? Hold crypto, make money, gamble on your meme coins and make money, that's not going to last. Not going to last. And everybody got a hard lesson when it didn't break the highs and it came down to 80,000. And it's going to happen again. we may never see all-time highs for Bitcoin until 4 years from now. Just understand that if you want to make money in markets, there's a really good chance it's not going to be easy. Everything is going to get harder, probably for 20 years. So I would really recommend learning how to trade if you want to continue to make money in markets. Just holding things, except for a few exceptions, maybe gold, maybe oil or something. But getting your 10 times gain on crypto is not going to be as easy as it used to be. So get the free algo, learn how to trade, put yourself in the position of profit regardless of what's going on with the market, and we will see you tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. EST sharp. Thank you.
Join us or die.
Just kidding. You're not going to die. We love you.